So back in September of 2024, Diamondback Energy acquired Endeavor for $26 billion. That may not sound like a big deal, but they did it while oil prices were volatile and while headlines were calling M&A in that space completely dead. You see, Diamondback had been preparing for 3 years. They'd cleaned up their balance sheet and they had a strategic growth plan that was ready. They saw an opportunity and they built a plan. While you're listening to this episode, 2 businesses will change hands through M&A activity in the US alone. And by the time this episode ends, that number will reach 4 or 5. And the reason is we're living in the greatest wealth transfer in history. $14 trillion is about to change hands as baby boomers retire. We're talking multifamily properties, oil and gas companies, private debt funds. Every asset class is seeing unprecedented opportunity, but most business owners, they have no idea how to position themselves for this massive wealth transfer. All right, Aaron, let's talk one big number that will blow everyone who's listening to this mind.
Let's hear it.
We're seeing something that's truly unprecedented right now. Baby boomers own about $15 trillion in private business assets. And they are retiring at a rate of 10,000 per day.
Wow.
10,000 baby boomers are retiring every day. 73% of them plan to exit their businesses within the next 10 years.
Yeah, makes sense.
$15 trillion of business assets are getting ready to transfer in the immediate, which means someone is going to buy those assets. Someone's going to inherit those assets. Someone's going to liquidate, and those assets are going to come flooding into the market. And most business owners are not right now in a position where they can take advantage of probably the biggest transfer of wealth in history of this country. I mean, if you look at...
You think all those businesses are able to be sold? Or are they all wrapped around the baby boomer where it just ends up just dissolving and ceasing to exist? Or can they be sold, right?
Well, I think you have to come up with a plan of what you want to pay attention to. That's step number one. You've got to have a thesis around it. For example, a lot of those assets are multifamily apartments, which are things that we're paying attention to, right? Baby boomers own a huge amount of multifamily apartment buildings.
Right.
They're going to want to sell those. Are those assets things that can be taken over? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. You can't really build a multifamily apartment. And most people think of apartments, they think of just real estate. But an apartment is a business. An apartment building is a business, right? It's got employees. It provides a service, i.e. a place to live, in exchange for another resource, money.
Yeah.
Tenants paying rent.
Yeah.
That
you can increase the value.
Right.
Based
You
on
can increase the value.
The active work.
You can step in, you can change the entire management system, the entire business infrastructure around it relatively easily compared to other businesses. It's not easy, certainly, but compared to other businesses.
Sure.
And then a lot of those businesses outside of multifamily, one of the things that people are really excited about right now, and I get the trend, although I think it's become so vogue that it's almost not attractive anymore, is small service-based boring business acquisitions. And I'm not saying that it's not something that people should do. I'm just saying it's lost its sizzle. It was really sizzling over the last couple of years. The idea, everyone thought, oh, they could just go and buy a laundromat or buy a dry cleaner or buy a landscaping business or a plumbing business or whatever. And they step in and try to do that and realize just how hard it actually is to do that. It's not as easy as the online gurus tell you that it is.
Right.
And the really good online gurus, like I know a guy who's one of the GOATs, the OGs in that space, like the first thing he'll tell you is it's harder than anyone online is going to sell you.
To buy a business versus just starting a new one.
Well, it's not harder necessarily to buy a business than it is to start one. In fact, his entire thesis is it's actually better to buy a business than it is to start one. But the online gurus, exactly. It's Walker Dybel. He's the author of Buy Then Build. But is who I'm talking about. But the point is, even though it's better, it's still very hard. It's harder than the online gurus would have you believe. And so the point, though, in saying all of that is you have to, if you want to take advantage as a business owner, you want to take advantage of the largest transfer of wealth in our country's history that's happening in real time right now. $15 trillion of it's going to transfer from somebody to somebody. Then you have to have a thesis for approaching it and a way to think about it. And for us, I know we're thinking about it essentially in three primary different ways. One is multifamily. Multifamily it's the most historically resilient and stable asset class. It's a simple business plan. If you can figure out a way to increase the rents and decrease the expenses to management, then you can create value and cash flow.
And it's stable. It's not a business that's going to just skyrocket. Like the revenue potential is not uncapped.
Yeah.
Because we're very constrained with the market, right?
Yeah.
But it's that stability.
Right. Your revenue is going to be capped, but also your downside is limited too, right? So you have a nice tight range. And so it's really, valuations are then need to understand and know on that, because it's probably not, unless it's just really bad management, it's probably not going to drop below a certain threshold of revenue. But it's also probably not going to go above a certain threshold of revenue during whatever hold period you want to own it for.
Yeah.
So it's very predictable. So it really just comes down to the finer aspects of operational execution. And so that's why the whole thesis of our private investment firm, Oak IQ Investments, is to buy and build multifamily apartments. Yeah, in strategic locations, in strategic markets.
And manage them well.
We've got proven systems and all that kind of stuff for doing so. But another thing I think is in the oil and gas space that's intriguing. A lot of oil and gas, the oil and gas industry is owned by 70, 80-year-old people from Texas.
Right.
And that's going to transition.
Yeah.
That's wealth that's going to transition and it's going to transfer. And so buying existing producing wells and then using cash flow from those existing producing wells to fund new proven undeveloped drilling opportunities is a play that we're focused on. So taking an existing asset and using it to basically create new like-kind assets that are operated by the same core national operators.
Yeah.
And then the last one that we're really paying attention to is more of a vehicle that funds the transfer of assets, and that's private debt. Specifically hard money or private debt on real estate, because people need the capital to buy and improve these assets. You got homes, for example, that have been owned by a baby boomer, a nice home owned by a baby boomer. It's dated though, because they've not really necessarily updated it. And maybe the maintenance on some of them is deferred and that kind of stuff. And now they're probably downsizing into a senior living community or something, or God forbid, they passed away and their kids now have this kind of house or whatever that they don't really know what to do with, and somebody wants to step in and buy that and renovate it and flip it, right? And there's a lot of those houses that are going to come on the market as baby boomers downsize, as they retire, and as they, unfortunately, some of them pass away. Being in a position to conservatively fund those acquisitions and flips through hard money loans is another really great space to be in. And I look at that specifically, the direct kind of hard money lending market in earlier this year was close to $3 trillion in total of hard money kind of private debt that was extended.
And a lot of that is
there's a huge demand
secure too.
Yeah.
Because you're in first position, you're low leverage.
It's backed by the asset itself.
You have a physical asset on the other side of it.
Yeah.
It's not speculative.
Yeah.
So I think I just think about when I was flipping houses back in the day, many times working with hard money lenders, and their position was real secure. I mean, they were at like 60 or 70% of the value. So like worst case scenario, they could come in and take that asset and be positive still. Yeah.
And they're getting 12, 13, 14, sometimes 16% or higher.
Can be, yep.
And annual return on their money.
Yep.
Just for funding, and it's backed and collateralized by an asset that's worth $100,000, and they've only got $60,000 on it, and it's collateralized by that asset. So worst case scenario, the dude botches the flip, and you take over $100,000 asset that you bought for only $60,000.
But you're saying a lot of this private credit and this debt will be used to fund some of the baby boomer businesses that are rolling over too, though, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Not only the businesses, but the hard assets, the apartment buildings even. I mean, we saw a boom, and a lot of people talk negatively, about all of the bridge financing for multifamily acquisitions that happened right after COVID. People would buy and get a 2-year bridge loan thinking, okay, we can sprint through a business plan and increase value and sell it. And for a lot of people, it worked because the market just massive tailwind, right? Lifted everybody up, and you could look like a genius. You
it worked
buy
until
an
it
asset
didn't.
and sell it 6 months later and be profitable on it and look like a freaking genius, when really it was just the market, right?
Yeah.
The market was just doing it for everybody. But a lot of those bridge loans started coming due and had to refinance out of them. But the people who won in those assets that either got foreclosed or even faced capital calls in order to be able to finance that, the guys who won were the ones who had the private debt on them.
Right.
They were the most secure in those. They didn't lose money. They made their 12, 13, 15% or whatever it was.
It was the equity that got wiped out, not the debt.
Right. It was the equity investment in that time that got hurt by over leveraged, kind of not great deals.
Yeah.
People overpaying like
Overly
crazy.
optimistic
Performance. Yeah, exactly. Anticipating crazy rent growth and stuff like that. And a lot of that happened. And a lot of it was just the unpredictability of how fast interest rates went up and stuff like that. I mean, so you don't look at it and say, okay, but it comes down to that Warren Buffett principle of investing of when there's blood in the streets or when there's fear in the market, it's time to get greedy. And when there's greed in the market, it's time to get fearful. And that's what happened is there was a lot of greed in the market. Everybody was just like, man, I'll overpay for this asset by $1 million. It's worth $7 million. I'll pay $8 million for the hope that I can add enough value to make it worth $10 million. That kind of thing. Yeah. And the idea that I could maybe do that on a 100-unit apartment complex, sell it
3%, so who cares? Because the money's almost free. And
I'm buying it on pro forma though.
Yeah.
Right? I'm buying it on pro forma, hoping that 2 years from now I can sell it.
Renovate 10% of the units, slap a coat of paint on a bunch of rotten wood, and sell it on pro forma.
Yeah, and so that you see that cycle happen. And then you got people that are skittish and they're missing the bigger picture, the bigger, that they got burned by the 2-year timeline. They're missing the big picture of the 10-year timeline or the 15-year timeline of these assets are going to start trading in greater volume. Transaction volume is already picking up. It's up 13% in Q3 to Q3 from 24 to 25. And that's a substantial increase in national transaction
Things
volume.
are starting to stabilize. I mean, definitely.
And so the point here, the big point here and the big takeaway for listeners on this little brief conversation is if you want to take advantage of a $15 trillion wealth transfer from baby boomers to whoever else is going to get it, if you want to get a piece of that, you have to define a thesis. What are you going to target? What are you going to go after? What are you going to come up with a strategy for going after it? Are you going to try and go out and buy and operate these businesses or these assets yourself? Or are you just going to identify core operators that you can partner with and invest passively alongside of? We've got a really good program at Oak IQ Investments for folks that want to partner in multifamily, oil and gas, and private debt, where they can partner passively with our thesis and our approach to doing it and just invest $50,000 or $100,000 per deal that we do and get a little piece of this $15 trillion wealth transfer in the hard asset space or the hard asset backed private lending space. But I think if we want to take advantage of it, if business owners, entrepreneurs want to take advantage of this wealth transfer, they have to have a thesis, which really is just an approach. What are you going to try to buy? Why? What are you going to try to buy? Why are you going to buy it? And what's going to be what boxes need to be checked in order for it to be a deal that matches what you're trying to accomplish? And then having a strategy for doing it. Am I going to do it actively? Or am I going to partner with and passively invest with someone else that's doing it actively? And those are two really different approaches. One's not right, one's not wrong. It just really depends on how much more workload do you want to take on as a business owner. If you want to take on the management of a multifamily apartment building, then go out and buy the thing yourself and do it. And you'll probably make a lot of money if you do it right. Or you could also probably make a lot of money if you just found someone like Oak IQ Investments or another firm similar to ours that has a good track record and just invest alongside of those assets, right? So ultimately, I think the big takeaway is paying attention, being positioned for the largest wealth transfer in our country's history.
Yeah.
And having an approach and a way that you're going to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And that you're going to get a piece of that wealth transfer.
And I even feel like so many of these baby boomers, they haven't been thinking of necessarily selling that business.
Right.
Because a lot of it has revolved around them. A lot of it has just been their baby.
Yeah.
But I think that creates an opportunity.
Yeah.
Because you can buy them for cheap.
Yeah. Right.
Because they haven't really set it up to where they've extracted themselves and they're gonna pass, and then they haven't been looking for a big exit.
Right.
These have just been folks that have just been working.
Yeah.
In their business.
Yeah.
As a job.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that creates opportunities as well.
Yeah.
To be able to buy these and maybe package some of them together and then systemize things.
Yeah.
And run them more as a business.
That's the
so
whole,
I think there's a lot of opportunities to buy stuff for cheap.
Yeah. And that's the whole roll-up strategy, right?
Yeah.
And see, I've got a couple of friends in the private equity space that they're putting together funds to acquire service-based businesses. Yeah. Sam is buying paving companies. You're just buying paving companies.
It's so just not sexy.
Right. It's totally not sexy. It's totally boring.
Yeah.
But he's buying them one at a time and rolling them up into one umbrella company that then
with better systems, better.
Everything's systematized, everything's unified, everything's ran by the same leadership team, all that kind of stuff, roll it up, and then take that whole package, and his goal is to exit that whole package to a larger private equity firm. Who the value that he brought is just consolidating systems, acquiring all these smaller paving companies, creating this one larger entity that has a streamlined scale. He's buying scale rather than creating it, buying scale and scalability by improving systems and management and processes and all that kind of stuff, from sales to delivery to customer service and support to all those kind of things, right? And then selling that whole package as a portfolio to a larger private equity institution for a multiple. And he'll make a crap ton of money if he's successful at it. And in the meantime, he's making cash flow because they're all cash flowing businesses.
Yeah.
So and his investors and stuff like that are coming alongside of and funding part of the equity contribution. And so
it's so good to look at it both ways, where in the midst of it, you want to be making that cash flow.
Yeah.
But you don't want to just get so narrow that you forget that, hey, if we set this up right, there'll be a big sale later,
big payday
too.
down the road. And
so
those
you
are
need
things.
Both.
And that's the idea, is like a paving company. I'm just using that as an example because that's what we're talking about. A paving company, another reason why it makes sense to buy those types of companies is it's like the last company that's going to get replaced by AI or robots.
Right.
Even if the machinery that actually does the paving can be replaced, the person who owns the company, we still live in a capitalist economy where if buying a robotic, paver is...
It's hard to imagine it on some of these trades.
Right.
Getting replaced.
But if buying that means the company becomes more valuable and generates more cash flow rather than a human operated piece of machinery,
then that's even better then.
That's better for the business owner.
Yeah.
It sucks for the dude who gets fired, who's getting replaced by the robot. I mean, I literally every day that I work out in the morning, I stop by the QT next to my trainer. And I go in there, and for a year plus, there was always a dude in there that was mopping the floor in the mornings right when I went in, because I went in right after training, right after working out. I'd walk in, and a dude in there mopping the floor every day. And then now you go in that same QT just the last probably 3 or 4 months, and they have a robot.
No way.
That mops the floor. Wow. And it even talks to you and says, it'll tell you. It'll tell you it's mopping the floor. I'm mopping the floor. And it'll stop and wait for you. If you're in its way, it'll do all that. And I'm like... If I'm the guy who's paid $12 an hour or $13 an hour to mop the floors, that sucks for me. But if I'm the guy who owns QT, that owns that gas station, that convenience shop,
you're making more, if anything.
It's
that's why you want hard assets or businesses.
Paid one time for it, and now it's mopping my floor every day, and it never needs to take a break, and it never calls in sick, and it never does any of that. Understanding there's also buying businesses and implementing new technology into them to make them more efficient actually makes them more profitable. And baby boomers, they're probably less likely to do that than the people that would buy their business from them.
Right. So you can buy stuff and then really like optimize and
use
drive.
to implement technology, all of those different things.
But I think, excuse me, a lot of these baby boomers too, like they've only been thinking about the monthly cash flow and the annual.
Yep.
If you come up and you're like, hey, I'll buy your business for $2 million, they're not even thinking, oh, wow, I could actually sell this.
Right. Yeah.
I think a lot of them have just been doing the day to day.
Yeah. And if they're planning to retire, then what are they going to do? Like they're going to leave it to their kids.
Yeah.
Their kids maybe don't want it. There's tons of opportunity, I think is the point.
Yeah.
There's tons of opportunity.
Definitely.
It's just picking a thesis, having a strategy for how you're going to execute on that thesis. And then the most important thing is take action. Like actually do it.
Yeah.
Actually start looking for deals and opportunities that match your thesis and your strategy. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not an overly complicated thing to figure out how to take advantage of this big wealth transfer.
Yeah.
It's just being cognizant, aware, and having an intentional strategic approach toward it. And it can be a really powerful way to help business owners own their personal exit.
What would your action steps be for somebody who wants to actually to take action on this?
Yeah.
What do they do? How do they do it?
Yeah. If you're listening to this and you're interested in hard assets like multifamily, oil and gas, or hard asset backed lending, which is our approach, then just check out our website would be the first thing, oakiq.com, and go to our resource page, learn a little bit about what we do and how we do it. And it's great educational content, whether you decide to connect with us and invest with us or not. You can learn a lot from the stuff that we put out. That would be one thing. But outside of that, I mean, if you're looking to take action, you've already got your thesis, you know what you want to buy. I think it's just start reaching out to and talking to business brokers, people who broker acquisitions.
Right. Yep.
Start the conversation with someone who can actually at least get you a theoretical deal in front of to start looking at and doing due diligence on. And even if it's just to figure out what questions you don't know to ask, and think of it as, hey, give the next 6 months to a year to educating yourself around the thesis and the approach that you want to take, so that when you are like, when you're able to actually identify and pinpoint and look at when is a good deal.
Right.
I think educating by doing repetitions, looking at actual deals.
Yep.
Right. Going through due diligence yourself, asking the hard questions, getting to the bottom of, is this a good deal or not? That's obviously, there's so many layers to that, depending on the asset or depending on the business that you're trying to buy, of like what those actual check boxes should be. I could run through those really easily with multifamily, with oil and gas, with private debt, right? Because we know what our due diligence process are on those things. But yeah, I would just say,
same concept for everything though.
Yeah. Identify what does due diligence look like? Like, how do you determine whether or not a deal is a good deal? That would be the first action step that I would take if I were trying to execute on this, if I were just starting.
Great.
Yeah. Awesome. That's a good conversation. If you want to learn more about Oak IQ, our private investment, alternative hard asset backed investment firm, primarily focused on multifamily, as well as some oil and gas and some private debt, then check us out at oakiq.com. We'll see you next time on Own the Exit.
See you next time.